Hey, madame, you are doing Agada. Nasaba ako. Agada. Di, kusahan mo. Kusahan mo. Kusahan mo.
We travel far.
Tiki said Lennock, Wapu wiki suit Lennock, Billy wiki suit Lennock, Pombuki suit Lennock, Some wiki suit Lennock, Mamma Puki suit Lennock, Caman Peter head Lennock, Arabe Peter head Lennock, Asantana yet Lennock, Dositanga yet Lennock, Abukarwayanet Lennock, Azatanga yet Lennock, Miki said Lennock, Navasiri head Lennock, Navatiri head Lennock, Molonavili had Lennock, Savilia had Lennock, Namanavi had Lennock, Namunavi had Lennock, Barunavi had Lennock, Bolanavi had Lennock, Navasiri had Lennock, Tatiana Puye had Kimnock, Tatiana Puye had Lennock, Navasama Gayel had Lennock, Masantana yat Lennock, Abofay at Lennock, the Momobile at Lennock, Rababile at Lennock, Conquerma Sora at Lennock, Conquerma at Lennock, Consabi Zure at Lennock, Conava Sire at Lennock, Pepuda Ure at kayat lenoke karabuka poka viet lenoke abel kwale yat lenoke jaman yat lenoke jaman
go somewhere I'm manging malate. O malate katete din and narate. On it in your wood, on it cadet, so let nobody tell you otherwise. Yeah, now let nobody tell you otherwise. For them like I'm a pie. No way. So when young attack the neck I win I'm mang so big. Yeah, on the bus socket for bay. Yeah, so just relax and put your trust in him. Azala da for whom me will I know. Kalibu you wake up a malo code. Baye ya buri la ba poya nord. So buyi ani kamal sum. Hey, for bala gets a cost for luminord. Yeah, baye bum purong ala malafo. I never listen to that voice. God is giving you the power to speak to your situation. Bala na bunyang till I tickle lengthy. Nye tickle lengthy. Da tabla na bunyang till I tickle lengthy.
Zato come tampone te cacabani zena. Cosa ya pare pensa ni kuta trana ni modla. Yeah ya sanga pitempanga kane kanun. Hey sanga pitempanga sala kane kempanga.
So, ni Yakenkene Lenken Darling TV Zupna, I welcome you all once again. It's good to be with you here once again. And I thank you so very much. I don't know whether you've been waiting for me. I really appreciate that. And I thank you so very much. Today we have a lot to discuss. We have the history of KUSAAS or KUSASIS, episode 1. I know most of us are demanding such questions. Most of us don't really know because we didn't look for it. But I think it's now the time, or now is the time for each and every one of us and all well-meaning Ghanaians to know the history of the KUSASIS and KUSAAS as a whole. You're welcome once again to the Fact Show with Darling D. Actually, today is the day, and I know most of you are going to be very happy listening to your history. But you know what we always do to help all of us is to share the video so that whoever is not aware of this should also have access to it. Kindly share it now so that we start it together with them for more understanding. I really appreciate your cooperation. We have a lot on Darling TV to show you. You can follow us on Concerned Citizen of KUSAAS page on Facebook. You can follow us on Darling TV on Facebook. Please kindly subscribe to our page or our YouTube channel, Darling TV. Kindly do that. Since we've started, we have to finish it together. And we know that victory is always us. And then we have a lot to discuss. Just relax and be rest assured. There are so many hidden things that we did not know. But for now, we have to prove it to the world who we are. Because history is very, very important. You will not know where you are going if you don't know where you are coming from. Wait with me. I'll be right back again. Thank you for staying. But I can still see our number increasing. Kindly share for us. Yes, kindly share the video. Let's all come on board. Let's start it together. Because you are the reason why we are here. You are the reason why we are here. And when we are talking and you are not with us, our talks will be nothing. And as you see, it's the history of KUSAAS or the KUSASIS, episode 1, that we are going to bring it to you today. We will keep on bringing it to you day in, day out, till we finish the whole of it, so that each and every one of us will now know his history. So the best thing we can do now is to share the video, share it, so that everyone will get access to it. So we start it together. I trust you, and I know you are going to do that. Before that, let's go for a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, madam, you are doing Agada. Nasaba ako. Agada. Dito kusahan mo ade. Kusahan mo. Kusahan mo.
Oh my God, my brother Anyat, you are so funny. Thank you so very much. I can see that the viewers are increasing. Please keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Let's watch this interesting and very marvelous performance by our storytellers which was produced by Winning Me Films. Watch out.
Kapuara konla to kupuara konla kanyal puara kongala apuara kongala mbe man David dawla kadawla on kubo zimi apuala zans ka en dog zimi teso da kon apuala dog zimi de zere teso kadawla de nai kapuala lepsi ale fete from petit singla boy kazina ka petit singile kweli kawane fundu kuzimi zere tema kamandi kweli yi kambiado zimi zere te for fefi iwala be kuyigat yo se ken kome kele Kabun puala lefse sengi zumbila zumbila fuaya ne zumbila 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 fuaya ne zumbila ndipo apel dogo kawaya ne zumbila do abispe dogo kawaya ne zumbila dani pe dogo kawaya ne zumbila kom lefse ma penanye ma penan no kom pua patisting dem ye ma penan kapani la tisting dem ye ma penan kanu bisa tisting dem ye ma penan kanu dir belma efetin ye ma penan den kabai ya di pua ka gana zet ana fitis zet ligidi.
I hope you enjoyed this story. I think there's another one. Let's watch it.
Kada sama yakina boru kuzasu kushake. Kazimi sayinga tikilgi ba menisa. Kina yeba boru kushak. Wano wief noku. Morala kemkwe fola stita. Kupu abuasu ba ike ina midia. Kuitna miba pala yama. Morala kimpa kuam kuitna midu. Kusei. Mary, go home, I am not a human being. Mary, go home, I am not a human being. We live in water, I am not a human being. We live in water, I am not a human being. Uluku, I'm not killing Zinga. Can you like him? Mary, go home, I am not a human being. Mary, go home, I am not a human being. We live in water, I am not a human being. We live in water, I am not a human being. Uluku amna lebzinga ka kon buku mo kwan leb yinna yase foras kan ka barol kana lo kwan leb using Mary go home, I am not a human being. Mary go home, I am not a human being. We live in water, I am not a human being. We live in water, I am not a human being. Lebzinga think about it, that's an yakina board kun shakem one in it muna meteso tofia.
Zato come tampone te che trebani vena. Cosa ya pare pensa sa ni ku te trana ni modla. Ya ya sanga pitem panga kane kanu. Hey sanga pitem panga sala kane kem panga.
All right, thank you so very much for staying with me. In fact, this information is quite worrying. Breaking news that one Bemova man was killed by man-pussies around the warehouse in Boko in Kolori. This is very, very bad. These are some of the things that we've been talking about. It seems no stranger should enter the town and go back home safely. This is quite worrying, and we need to seriously look into it. I understand that whoever challenges the legitimacy of the paramount chief of Boko, who is the overlord, Naba Asegir Abograk Azoka II, whoever challenges his legitimacy is a criminal and must be dealt as such. But just today, they released a presser, a very funny one though, but some of the issues are quite disrespectful, in which they need to be arrested because they are still challenging, which is against the rules and regulations of this nation and the laws. So it's as if whoever enters to Boko town is likely not to go home safely. If our honorable DCE or MCE doesn't rescue the person, it means the person will be killed. but Mr. Honorable said the place was safe for traders. And remember, I asked this question here. For how long and how many are you, the MCE? How many are you to surround the whole market, to be rescuing people and claim the place is safe? I guess today you were not there, or maybe you were at one side, yet a Bimabo man has been killed. It's about time we become serious as a country. All right, I think the viewers that I was expecting, I have not gotten that yet. And I know you are still on it. Kindly keep on sharing with us. Keep on sharing the video, and let's start. There are so many frequently asked questions from our lovely people. And in this section, we shall give appropriate answers to the burning frequently asked questions by KUSAAS and well-meaning Ghanaians through research with empirical evidence from variable sources. All right. In this particular section of the history, we shall give appropriate answers to the burning frequently asked questions by KUSAAS and well-meaning Ghanaians through research with empirical evidence from variable sources. Be rest assured that all the answers to your questions will be provided with long references that you can confidently speak to without fear of contradiction, most of which are published documents, minutes of meetings, diaries from the colonial era till dates. And I can see that our guest is knocking at the door. And very soon, we will bring him in. And he's in the person of Winter Sida. As you know, he's always with us, helping us, giving us good submissions, good analysis, and a whole lot. And today, he's with us once again. So please kindly share the video for us, okay? This is a very, very important topic that I think each and every KUSAAS should know about it. And therefore, it will be good for us to share. Let's share it on our social platforms, being it WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and more. We can also share it on our timeline on social media, Facebook, so that our friends can also get access to it. The same way, we can also share to groups and pages that we follow. As I said in this section, we shall give you appropriate answers to the burning frequently asked questions by KUSAAS and well-meaning Ghanaians through research with empirical evidence from variable resources. So you should be rest assured that all the answers to your questions will be provided along with references that you can confidently speak to without fear of contradiction, most of which are published documents, minutes of meetings, diaries from the colonial era till dates. Falsehood and propaganda may travel far, but only when truth is buried. But how long can the truth be buried? Truth will surely eclipse falsehood any day. Let's welcome Mr. Sirawentis. Sir, you're warmly welcome back again to the Fact Show with Darling D.
All right.
Hello,
thank
sir.
you very much, and good evening to you and Didi. Thanks for your hard work. I actually admire your zeal to get the truth out there for the unsuspecting Ghanaian who doesn't really know what is happening in Boku to become abreast with what is happening in Boku. I want to say a very good evening to all your viewers, and thank you very much for having me around.
Thank you so very much. So, since you are with us, we are going to continue, and we come back to you for any interpretations of some of or parts of this history. So, moving forward, first, I know that most of you do ask this question. Did the Boku Mamprosis enskin 14 chiefs in Boku? I know most of you have been wondering, is it true that the Mamprosis have ever enskinned 14 chiefs in Boku? We'll go to that, and we are going to understand it today. This is the history of KUSAAS or KUSAAS, episode 1. According to R.S. Rattray, 1932, when the Mamprosis moved from Gambaga to Boku, the KUSASIS were already occupations of the area as Tindana or land priests, where they engaged in crop farming and animal husbandry. I hope you understand this point. Did the Mamprosis really enskin 14 chiefs in Boku? And according to R.S. Rattray, 1932, when the Mamprosis moved from Gambaga to Boku, the KUSASIS were already in occupation of the area as Tindana or land priests, where they engaged in crop farming and animal husbandry. Let's move forward. Though there are other ethnic groups in the region, such as Besa, Moshi, Hausa, and Bimoba in Boku, they constitute a politically insignificant minority who migrated into the area mainly as traders. Mr. Silawentes, if you can highlight this for our viewers, I would have been very happy.
Okay, thank you very much. I know a lot of people are eagerly waiting to hear what we have to talk about this tonight. We may be young as we are, but then upon research and then mostly we don't base our discussions on propaganda and mere emotional talks. But you see, all this while we have had a lot of pseudo social media handles that has so populated Facebook, and they are all in a mission to circumvent justice and to distort the truth, and that is what has called for this program, so that we can stage this program and let people actually know what is the truth. I was just trying to share the link to this program to other platforms for them to join, and then we will have a fruitful discussion. But quite apart from that, whilst I was still trying to do that, let me quickly do justice to the question you just posed. And then whilst you're handling other matters, I will share the link to my friends, them come up, and then we will have a very fruitful discussion.
Thank you so very much.
The question is that did the Mamprosis actually install 14 chiefs? Is that the question?
Yes. Based on the little I have said out.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Interpret exactly.
So whilst I was still busy on my phone trying to share the link.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't follow up, so I will plead that you bring me up to speed.
Okay. I got that before the Mamprosis traveled from Gambaga to Boku, the KUSASIS were already in occupation of the area, and they were farmers and also practicing this animal husbandry. And there were also other tribes who were the Bemoba, the Mosi, the Hausa, but politically, they were just minority. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So
yeah.
Highlight that particular point. That according to that is okay. Let me make it this. According to R.S. Ratri, 1932, when the Mampusis moved from Gambaga to Boko, the area was the KUSASIS were already in occupation of the area as Pendana or land priest, where they engaged in crop farming and animal husbandry. Though there were other ethnic groups in the region, such as Bisa, Moshi, Hausa, and Bemoba in Boko, they constitute a politically insignificant minority who migrated into the area mainly as traders. So this is actually where I want you to highlight this point.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the question is loud and clear, and I get it very well. The truth about I like the reference you just mentioned, R.S. Ratty. R.S. Ratty was referenced by in a research work that was conducted by what do we call it? We call him Felix Y.T. Longi in a project called the Project Muse.
Okay.
It's a whole research work that was done. The whole title is called the KUSASI Mampusi conflict in Boko, a legacy of colonial policy in northern Ghana. So actually, it was this research that actually referenced R.S. Ratty, and then the statement he made about the fact that the time the Mampusi came to Boko, Boko was already occupied by KUSASI and other tribes who constituted an insignificant political minority, and they were mainly traders, and that is actually a fact. Now, what do we see on social media these days? We have people parading themselves around on social media, speaking propaganda and trying to tell lies to the general public that the Mampusi founded Boko, and that when they came to Boko, but there was nobody in Boko. Then when I hear of these statements, then I wonder, is it that are they saying that their fathers were alive when Prophet Moses was around, or their fathers were older than Jesus Christ when he came? Because by the time their fathers had come to the north here, then that even if it is, sometimes they did themselves back. Some of them said 200 years, some of them said 300 years, and they are not even making arrogant statements that they are the first, kingdom in the whole of Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are the propagandas they are making. So R.S. Ratty made it very clear, because the truth is that by the time the Mampusi people arrived from Gambaga to Boko, historical antecedents has it that the land was already occupied. Majority of the occupants were KUSASI, whilst there were already other minority tribes. Now, when you listen to the stories they have to tell about some of these things on one of their platforms, and you compare the same information to another platform, the information the correlation is not there. It means that somebody somewhere has lied to these people, and that is why they are out there talking anyhow. But the truth is that the land was already occupied, and when they said they were mainly traders, Boko serves as a border town. In those days, there were not even the map of Ghana wasn't drawn, like I said in other submissions. So it was easy to go to Tinkodogu, to go to Togo, to go to Burkina, and to do other businesses. So it was mainly, and remember, the KUSASIS were farmers, and they were the rare animals. So people
Yes.
come to buy some of these goods, and some of them just settle down to continue their business here. So there is no iota of truth that when the Mampusis arrived, Boku was a ghost town and they came and founded Boku. That wasn't it. That wasn't it.
Thank you so very much. Then, since you are with us, we are much more happy because you interpret a whole lot of this for us. So in general, scholars, mainly anthropologists, have categorized the political structures of pre-colonial northern Ghanaian societies either as centralized or non-centralized. The centralized political system refers to those with central authority embodied in chiefs comparable to those in Ashanti. The non-centralized groups were those that lacked a locus of central political authority and instead headed by Tendanes, landowners, or earth priests who could invoke spiritual and moral sanctions. The Mampusis were put in the category of the centralized states. The Nairi and his sub-chiefs enforced law and order through adjudication of cases. On the other hand, KUSAAS society, prior to contacts with the Mampusi, actually, it's to escape me, but okay, they could actually invoke a spiritual moral sanctions on some people. So the Mampusis were put in a category of centralized states. So the Nairi and his sub-chiefs enforced law and order through adjudication of cases. On the other hand, KUSAAS society, prior to contact with the Mampusis and the imposition of the colonial rule, was said to be acephalous. The KUSASIS did not acknowledge a centralized political authority headed by one individual as supreme ruler manipulating a center of power that consisted of a court and council of elders. The societies were headed by Tendanes, as I said earlier on, who were spiritual leaders and assisted by different clans and family heads. They offer sacrifice to the land gods to secure their sources of livelihood and their authority. In spite of these differences in political organizations, the two groups lived peacefully prior to colonial intrusion. The Mampusi chiefs did not seek to exert political control over the KUSASIS. Neither was there any evidence of Mampusi suzerainty over the KUSASI inhabitants of Boko and its environs. Mr. Winters, this particular section that in general scholars, mainly anthropologists, have categorized the political structure of pre-colonial northern Ghanaian society either as centralized or non-centralized. The centralized political systems refer to those with central central authority embodied in chiefs comparable to those in Ashanti. That the non-centralized groups were those that lacked locus of central political authority and instead or landowners. When you say Tendanes in coastal, it means landowners or earth priests who could invoke spiritual and then moral sanctions. The Mampusis were put in the category of the centralized. And then the Nairi and his sub-chiefs enforced law and order through adjudication of cases. And on the other hand, KUSASIS prior to the contact with the Mampusi and the imposition of the colonial rules was said to be as follows. The KUSASIS did not acknowledge a centralized political authority headed by one individual as supreme ruler, manipulating a center of power that consisted of a court and a council of elders. The society was actually headed by Tendanes, as I said earlier on, who were spiritual leaders and assisted by different clans in family heads. And then who were spiritual leaders and also assisted by these people, then they offer sacrifice to the land gods to secure their sources of livelihood and their authority. I think this is clear. Then, in spite of these differences in political organizations, the two groups lived peacefully prior to colonial intrusion. Then, the Mamprose chiefs did not seek to exert political control over the KUSASIS. Neither did they seek to exert political control over the KUSASIS. Neither was there any evidence of Mamprose's sovereignty over the KUSASIS inhabitants of the Boko and its environs. Mr. Winters, please, it seems this is quite long and then a little bit confusing. If you could analyze it and interpret it for our meaning Ghanaians to understand it very much well.
Okay, so thank you very much. And I'm very happy with the submission you are trying to make.
Okay.
All these things you are saying are contained in various research works, various established documents that people can refer to anytime they need clarification. So let me speak to the matter. You see, the RS Rati and then the Acephalus project, the project Muse still have these recordings where where the arrival of the Mamprose, their cultural organization, their political governance is entailed in some of these documents. So what we are simply what that document do that document is simply saying is simple and straightforward in the sense that when the Mamprose actually the RS Rati said that what do you call it? We have different types of tribes and different types of cultures. The centralized political system, which refers to a central authority embodied in chiefs comparable to the Ashantis, and we have the non-centralized, which is almost where he used a word. They were acephalous in nature. The word acephalous means they didn't have something like a curriculum or a syllabus that guide the order of things. Yes, they didn't have like standing orders that govern the way they do their things. So what they were doing is that the centralized political system that worked with the Mamprose and then the likes of the Ashanti, they had chiefs who were superior or who was an umbrella to all of their tribes. So even when the Mamprose people moved to Boku here, when they came, their system is that they have somebody they refer to as a chief. So all of those who followed them and came recognized one person as their chief, who was responsible of resolving issues among them, negotiating for them, and probably guiding their day-to-day activities. So that is the Mamprose for us. So they had chiefs like the way the Ashanti had chiefs. But but the Kusa, so that was a centralized political system for them.
Okay.
The Kusasi people who were already occupants of the land, on the other
hand, which means their power was one particular
person. Yes. Yeah. So unlike the Kusasi people who were operating a decentralized kind of political system, where they had clan heads and they had the Tindana, who was more like a chief priest. The Tindana was recognized as the owner of the land, who was able to mediate between the people and the gods, the people and their ancestors. So you realize that I am young, but I've met the Tindana's operations in Boku here before, such that in those days, when at the end of the year, like the summer period we do, in communities, what they used to do is that they had people, they call them tindanas, and almost every house will bring a fowl or an offering to the gods. So when you come, you hand it over to the tindana, who will slaughter that animal, and then to appease the gods for anything you probably would have done wrong, and also to thank them for protection and for provision. So these were the things that were happening. So the tindana was only there to be consulted when there is a matter beyond the clan heads. So they based. So when you look at the KUSAAS, we have so many clans. We have the Ninkodip, we have the Tonde, even the Tonde, we have different clans. The Tonde, I am Tonde, and I'm Zoga by tribe. I'm Zoa Awadpa by tribe. Then we have Zebibi by clan. So we have a lot of people, different clans. The language is the same, but the clans are different. And up till now, we have those clans still in existence. I must say there are over 100 clans. If you want to still look at the clan system of the KUSAAS.
Yes.
And so everybody respected the clan head, and when there's a problem, the clan head was the one who stepped in to mediate and to mitigate issues and bring solutions to them. Now, the clan head will probably refer or maybe take a case to the tindana if the matter was beyond his control and needed the intervention of the gods. For instance, if you had gone to steal somebody's property and maybe there were repercussions, and then those are serious matters the clan head probably couldn't have handled. So the clan head will carry you and the issues you have, and then you will go to the tindana. The tindana will know how to consult the gods and to bring peace between the two of you, and the consequences that the one who was at fault would have suffered, maybe there would have been an alleviation of that consequences. So that was the system of governance for the KUSAAS. Now, if you read some of these documents on and on, you realize that the Mampusi, despite the fact that they had chiefs, were not lording over the KUSAAS. Because when they came, the KUSAAS respected the fact that they had their chiefs, and they were the chiefs was responsible for his people. So they had no problem with the fact that they had a chief, and they too didn't interfere in the activities of the KUSAAS person. So they neither did they use their chieftaincy position with their people to say they are also chiefs for the KUSAAS. So there was peace. They lived in peace. They lived in harmony. So they had their chiefs. The KUSAAS didn't have their chief. They had their tindana, and there was no problem about that. So until the colonial and the masters came, until the slave masters came. Now the slave masters, when they came from the south, and in the south they were also operating a centralized political system where they had chiefs.
Okay, so, sir. You see, I would like to cut you off here. Then we continue. We will go where I can see that the whole in your is off head. You can even sleep and say it. Thank you so much. All right. So to continue, colonial administration in KUSAAS and Mampusi towards the end of the 19th century, the British consolidated their occupation of Boko and Mampugu and had established administrative stations in both areas by the first decade of the 20th century. The arrival of the British and their hasty endorsement of the existence of political arrangement as told by the Longi, Nairi enabled the Mampusi to secure political sovereignty over the KUSAAS. British colonial officials, looking for easy and convenient ways to administer the vast territories they had acquired by 1900, adopted a system which enabled them to govern through existing traditional rulers or leaders. Given the prevailing misconception that the lands occupied by the KUSAAS and Fafra were all part of the Mampugu territory, the British colonial administration not only endorsed the 6 Mampusi chiefs appointed by the Nairi in the KUSAAS area, but also appointed a new canton chief. some of whom were KUSASI in areas where none had previously existed. Mr. Winters, you can actually see it clear here that there were even areas, many areas that were already occupied by the KUSASIs, in which even the colonial master, if the colonial master wanted to appoint a chief there, he wouldn't get a Mamprisi to be that chief over there. They have to appoint a KUSA because the KUSAs had already taken all over the land. Can you make any clearance here?
Thank you very much for the question, and I still want to believe that our viewers are sticking and staying with us. It's a hard nut to crack because already there is a misconception on the grounds, and people have to be, open and willing to accept the truth. And that is how, if the truth is accepted, then definitely people will see reasons to forsake the lies and then to the path of peace. It is a worry that Boku and the people who were living together in peace all of a sudden are still hinging on colonial, legacies and creating problems for themselves. And I pray that well-meaning Ghanaians and Mamprosis out there who were, so possessed with the misconceptions that their forefathers passed down to them will see reasons to give peace a chance and let Boku move on.
Good.
Now, let me come to your question. Yeah.
Yes, let me quickly add this one so that I think we would like to end today's episode of the program. So let me just finish today's section so that you can you can analyze it at the same time and then give out your submissions. So we end it for another day. Between 1902 and 1930, the colonial administration operated a direct system of administration which did not elicit the desired effect. The circumstances necessitated a rethink and an overhaul of a system, and this culminated in the decision to introduce indirect rule in the early part of the 1930s. So I think we would like to end this section here today and then analyze it and then continue another day. So please, thank you so much for waiting. You can now come in.
All right. So like we said that the Mamprisi, like the Ashanti, had a centralized political system where their people were like there was the political power was centralized in one person who was recognized as a chief who administered the day-to-day affairs of that tribe. Now, the historical antecedents has it that when they came to Baku, even with their chiefs, they were not lording over the indigents of the land. Neither did they try to become rulers of KUSASIS. And because of that, despite the fact that KUSASIS didn't have a chief, there was a cordial relationship and there was peace.
Excuse me, sir. That the KUSASIS didn't have, or KUSAS were not using a centralized
system or a political system. Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. The KUSASIS were not operating a centralized political system. That's a non-centralized political system.
But they had
because of that, they had their clan heads and they still had their Tendana. So when the Mamprisi came, so that was like, a calabash and a bowl. They all serve the same purpose, just that their names are not the same. That was it. So the KUSASI had their own way of governing themselves. So now where did the problem come from that we are now suffering today? The problem came as a result of the colonial master. the colonial master from the south, that is what from the south acquired slaves through the chiefs.
Yeah.
And when it goes to the chief was the one who mobilizes slaves for the white man. The last time I listened to TED, there's a program called TED, TED. It's a platform. It's a platform for hard truths to be unraveled. And on that platform,
we can't really.
On that platform, what happened is that there was a question that when the colonial master came, every day we see, there was a proposal that the Americans and the British who colonized Africa should pay a level of, should pay some ransom to Africa, because all that they are enjoying, they took it from Africa and they came and forced our people to come and build their place, and they are enjoying on the toils of our forefathers. Yes. And one of the white men made a submission that still baffles me up till now. He asked a question whether has it ever been recorded in any document, in any history, that when the white man came to Africa, the white man was running around chasing people and arresting them as slaves by himself. And the whole place became quiet because actually the white man never chased people and arrested them to become slaves. We sold our own people to the white man and collected useless things. Some of them even sold the people, their people as slaves and collected the mirror. Others collected other objects of value for them, valuable items from them, and gave people out as slaves. So it means that the white man couldn't have gotten slaves without the chiefs. Yes. And that is why when the white man finally came to Boku, the white man realized that he realized that the majority of the people in Boku here were KUSASI people. But unfortunately, they had nobody to refer to as a chief. And I know the generosity of the white man in those days. They will say, oh, if you want a chief, go to these people, they have a chief.
For sure.
And that was it. So they contacted the Mampurisi people who had the chiefs, and through the help of the Nairi in those days to crown a chief for them. And the white man needed to buy slaves, not only Mampurisi people, but to buy slaves from both sides. And that is through the help of the Nairi. They now imposed their chieftaincy on the KUSASI man. You see, that was where the link, that was the beginning of the trouble we are now facing today. Okay. So that is the legacy the white man has left for us in Boku here. And we are now, this thing has happened in other areas, even under Wa. In those days when it happened that way, even the Wa jurisdiction was under the Nairi, and the Nairi appointed chiefs to Wa and those things. But the independence have come. It's a new day, and people have to wake up from their sleep. For now, sure. The jurisdiction of Wa is under the Wa chief, the Wa paramount chief, and the Nairi cannot in any way interfere in Wa and say because we had chiefs there during the colonial era, then we want to take Wa back. Then that would be disaster. That is exactly what they are trying to do in Boku here. Yes. Because the white man came, and through the help of the Nairi, they recognized their chief, and the chief now forcefully imposed that chief on the KUSASI people. And that is how, in another day, we will talk of how did they appoint chiefs up to 14. Now let me give you a gist of that. History has it that anytime they appoint the chief doesn't last up to 3 years. Okay. Why? Because the land wasn't for them. So something always happened to them when they are chiefs. Okay. They won't speak about this on air for people to hear. If not, it was a very short period. Let's say, they said 200 years. They said they have ruled Iboku 200 years. If 200 years could bring out 14 chiefs, that means that each of them lived less than 20 years. Yes, that's true. Chieftaincy is for a lifetime. For sure. I don't know whether have you ever thought of it at all? In fact, you just opened up something right now. I've never thought of this before. Chieftaincy is for a lifetime. And if they can install 14 chiefs within 200 years.
No, it's not. They mostly say 150 years.
So then say 200 years. But even if it is 200 years, you divide 200 years by 14 people and see how many years they lived.
Interesting.
So something always happened to them each time they achieve. The last chief, the chief who died before the last chief, history has it that he was poo-pooing on himself and became a living dead person, and everybody forsook him until he died miserably. And none of their chiefs died as a chief. By the time the chief is dying, there is a problem among themselves that they have already confiscated the chieftaincy, and the person dies as a commoner. So all their long list they are writing doesn't really make sense. Now I'm speaking about this, that all well-meaning Ghanaians should divide the 200 years they said they have ruled Boku by the 14 chiefs they said they have, and see the number of years they lived. The last chief who died, let me tell you how mysteriously he died. When Rollins finally came and said, okay, if you say you are the owner of the land, then collect a calabash and pour libation. He said he will not pour the libation because he is not the owner of the land, but he is the chief of the land. And the father of our current chief, Naba Azoka Aburago the first, said he will sacrifice. He said he collected the calabash with the water and pour, and said, if I am a true son of the land, and if the gods are my fathers and my ancestors, then they should collect water. And he gave them the water. And the Rollers commanded them to shake hands. And when they shook hands, the chief of the Mampusi went home, and his own horse, in 3 days' time, his own horse beat him, and he died.
Wow.
He died in 3 days after that meeting.
Interesting. Wow.
He died in 3 days after that meeting. So if they say they have ruled Baku for 200 years, 200 divided by 14 people, do that mathematics for me. Let's get that
about 14 years. 14 years, which means each had only 15 years. Meanwhile, chiefs can spend about 60 years, 80 years as chiefs.
Our current chief has been on the seat. Our current chief have been on the seat. He's almost going to 70 years on the seat. He's almost going to 70 years on the seat. And today, all the hula baloo they are doing, if we step down today and say, okay, sit on the chieftaincy, be the chief. Forget of the nonsense regent thing they are doing. Sit on the chieftaincy stool, skin. You won't last for a day. Especially now that Baku is hot. You won't last for a day. You will die. At the point they themselves were running away from the skin. And let me tell you something. The last time I said this on one of our shows, that how did the KUSASIS man got the kanjak, which is the symbol of authority?
Yes.
They themselves came and said, KUSASIS man, you are supposed to be the rightful chief. And we have been dying in this thing. And we are suffering with this thing. Collect your kanjak and go and become chiefs. And that is how we became the chiefs. Because they had the kanjak. That is a symbol of authority.
And so I think that is actually killing them. Because it doesn't belong to them.
Killing them. Yeah. So in all of these things, it was the colonial masters who came, and then that was the beginning of the Mampusi trying to impose their chieftaincy on the KUSASIS man. Now the KUSASIS man, and to be honest with you, KUSASIS and other tribes, Bises and other tribes, have suffered seriously under the Mampusi when they imposed themselves on because they had the colonial masters backing them, who came with guns and stuff. So they have actually enslaved people. They have enjoyed the power of colonialism, and that is what they are still trying to bring to our to Baku today, and which cannot work. They should try that in Wa. The last time, anytime I'm making a submission, I always say that they should try and go to Nalerigo today and say they want a sub chief in Nalerigo and see whether they will give them. They will chase them.
Why?
Actually, these people are lost people. They have see.
So why would they?
Now, these people here, they have more KUSASI blood in them. They have more Bisa blood in them than any other tribe. And that is why they cannot even speak their Mampuruli language. Anytime they are insulting anybody, either they use Hausa. I want all the other tribes to wake up and say, don't use our language to insult anybody again. If you want to insult anybody, speak your own language.
Exactly. Because I said, I really wanted to talk about this. Because mostly, if you listen to their threat and the insult, it's mostly Mosi. So somebody somewhere may be sitting somewhere thinking it is a Mosi who is making those threats. So if you cannot speak your own language, you should try and learn and speak it. Because now I think the KUSAS don't have any problem with Bisas, Bemoba, the Yorubas, the Mosis, and the other tribes. But they use the Mosi mostly in their threats and their insult, which I think the Moses and the other minority tribes have to come together and then issue a statement banning them from using their language to do those things.
Now, let me tell you something. Now, their agenda that we have to expose as on this platform is that now they are looking for numbers. They are looking for numbers regardless. See, I'm telling the truth. If you are, no matter, regardless of your tribe, even me being a KUSASI today, if you run into the Mampuruli people and surrender and say, "Oh, from today, I don't want to be a KUSASI. I want to become one of you," they will give you a sub chief. They will not kill you, they'll give you a sub chief because they are in search for numbers. And their quest for numbers is the reason why they are now calling the Nairi. They are now calling the whole of Dagbang, the whole of the Gombes to rise up and support them. But you see, those people are designing people. They know the truth. They will not. They won't want to meddle themselves with people who, a lot of them who are in town, they're struggling like that, are only thieves. They only get up to shoot gun and you run away and they convey your things. Now that the markets are going out of town, they are angry, releasing press conferences every now and then. Why? Because they will not get to shoot. They will not get to shoot guns again, and people will run away and they come and convey their things. Information reaching us has it that the stores, that the KUSASI people's stores, and even the Bisa people's stores, and other people's stores that are in town, and they cannot go there because of the war, because of their killings, and then they have gone to break into those stores and took away monies and took away food stuff. And so now, if you now look at their, see, initially when I have screenshots of their insults on Facebook. One of these days when I come online, I will share them and they will see. They started saying that, what do you call it? Bisa people are this, Moshi people are this. Now they are now hiding again and saying, "Oh, Bisa people get up and fight. Moshi people get up and fight." Why? Because they don't have the numbers. They are just a few people, a few criminals. The issue about Boku, the issue in Boku is not even about chieftaincy; it's criminality.
Exactly.
Like the people's had it. Like Avocat said it. Like the honorable MP for Binduri said it. Abanga said it. It's criminality. People are only hiding there to steal. So I think it's about time. It is about time the laws of the country are properly enforced to the latter, such that anybody who parades himself as a chief or a regent should be arrested.
Yes,
because we cannot have a chief and have a regent
at the same time. Let's quickly go and enjoy this and come back.
Let them understand that there's no chieftaincy dispute in Boku. There's no chieftaincy problem in Boku. What is happening is criminality. The Supreme Court of Ghana has ruled that the current Boku Naba, who was executed as far back in 1984, is the chief of Boku. And you cannot have a chief who have been skilled, who have been gazetted by the regional National House of Chiefs and then the Gazette of Ghana, and have been functioning as for the past 20 or 30 years. And then you have a rival regent. You can only have a region when there is no chief in the area. But Boku Naba is there, fully recognized. And therefore, what is happening now is people who don't respect the decisions of the court, the highest court of the land. I'm inviting the government, I'm pleading with the government of the day to try to put its foot down. What is a roadmap? There must be a roadmap to peace, everlasting and durable peace in Baku. The roadmap, I'm happy that the Minister for the Interior, Honorable Ambusdere, then the Minister for Chieftaincy Affairs, who came for Smampit, they are thinking in the same right direction. That what is happening in Baku now is people who want to take the law into their own hands. And you cannot have a Calcutta Republic. Baku cannot be an island. So you recall that in 2012, after 2012 election, when Nana Akufo-Addo was aggrieved, he went to the Supreme Court, and when they ruled against him in 2013, he abided by it. You recall that in 2020, when John Mahama lost the election, in 2021 he went to the Supreme Court. When they ruled, he has abided by it. The non-police sent the current KUSAAS Bokunaba to the Supreme Court in 2003, and the Supreme Court ruled that they have no right to challenge the current Bokunaba about chieftaincy in the area, and that the Bokunaba, Ninchama Aburaga Azoka II, Zibrana of KUSAAS, is the right fellow to be the Bokunaba, and therefore nobody should disturb him. What is left now is the government of the day, the president who swore an oath to uphold the constitution, to protect the constitution, to protect the rule of law and uphold the rule of law. I expect the government of the day to try and ensure that those who are fomenting trouble in Baku in the name of chieftaincy are dealt with according to the rule of law, and they are dealt with according to the constitution, because there is no chieftaincy dispute in Baku, there is no chieftaincy problem in Baku, there is no matter pending anywhere in Baku. What is in Baku is criminality. What is in Baku is abuse of authority, taking authority for granted, and then disrespecting the decision of the highest court of the land, and that is affront to the integrity of the government. So I think that the government should be strong and firm, and then make sure that when any government official comes to Baku to pay a courtesy call on the Bokunaba, they don't go anywhere to pay a courtesy call on somebody, a supposed regent. You cannot have a chief and a regent at the same time.
For decades, that the President Bokunaba, the KUSAAS Bokunaba, is the Bokunaba without dispute, confirmed by a Supreme Court decision, has been the case in the past, and this government has no intentions of disturbing the situation. On the contrary, we are determined to protect the status quo. I'm disturbed when I see anything that's ethnic based. The ethnic groups have existed peacefully over the years, and we do not want any division in the north, or indeed any part of the country along ethnic lines. Mampuchis and KUSASIS have coexisted in the Baku area and in other parts of the country, and nothing should be done to disturb that cordial relationship.
Ambrose there stated that government has no interest in who becomes the chief of an area, but has unwavering interest in maintaining peace of those areas.
I want to advise all those who want to call themselves youth associations of various organizations to know that this is a state where the rule of law must be respected. We are all equal before the law, and no one is above the law, and nobody will be allowed to take the law into his or her own hands and make this country ungovernable.
All right.
That was so powerful. You see, so let me just wind up on this and I'll run away. See,
okay.
What we are saying is that there is no chieftaincy issue in Baku, and
yes.
Now the quite apart from the Supreme Court ruling, there's one permed head guy. I anytime I talk, I still remember this permed head guy, and another rascal, they call him T-Blow, or what is his name, who is on Facebook there speaking. That T-Blow guy, you can't speak very good grammar. When you see the background of where he's sitting, you can tell that this is a very crooked place. And these people, I'm advocating that these people should be arrested because they are not above the laws of our country. You see, when the laws of our country are being disrespected this way, then it is a cause for alarm, because these are the terrorist groups who can grow to affect to cause a serious mayhem for the whole country. The earlier they quench, we handle them as a country, the better. And so I'm calling for a full enforcement of the laws of Ghana, because the Supreme Court cannot make a ruling, and then some stooges will still be having a regent and still be organizing press conferences, and nothing is done about it. But I know gradually everything is coming to an end. So the submission I was making about the fact that the Mamprisi people, the colonial masters, were the people who gave power to the Mamprisi, who now imposed their chieftaincy on the KUSASI man. Else, when they were ruled by their chiefs, they were not interfering with the KUSASI people, and the KUSASI people were also ruled by their clan heads and their tendanes. Now, I saw a post this afternoon on their pseudo warmongering platform called Bokulings. And what did they write there? They said we should have our tendana. The tendanas are mostly the owners of the land, but the chieftaincy is for them. How stupid! The chieftaincy is for them.
It doesn't make sense.
The chieftaincy is for them, but the tendana is the owner of the land. So they are not saying that they want any land. They said they want the chieftaincy. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't happen anywhere in any civil society. So the earlier they wake up from their dreams and forsake the criminality that is being perpetuated in Boku here, the better for all of us. And we are saying that all those people who are on Facebook creating pseudo accounts and creating warmongering accounts, all these people should be fished out and be arrested for them to face the full rigor of the law. So that is basically what is happening in Boku. Then when we have time next time, I will share some of the posts these people have been posting on Facebook, and then the whole people will see. And the other thing is that all the tribes that they are trying to hypnotize and plead to become their sympathizers. Now, what is funny is that they will kill somebody and come out to Facebook and say, KUSAS people have killed this person. That is very funny.
Please, I wanted to ask that question. It seems they always prepare a presser so that after they do that, they'll quickly come and put it on Facebook, because it's always I don't get it. Look at the area they've been killing the people and claim it is the KUSAS who are doing that. And immediately it is done, they will quickly come out to publish the thing that KUSAS have done that. And it's surprising. And said, another thing that I wanted to add is that today I watched this on I think I saw it on one of the social social media platforms, and they were being interviewed by City TV, and even their women. Seriously, I thought, and I know that women would have been people who would have been crying and then fighting for freedom and then peace in a society. But listening and looking at their women, their egos, their all arrogance, and the way they were talking, mentioning the paramount chief of Boku, mentioning his name like that, and then saying that if the KUSAS think they are men, they should face them one-on-one. And I was surprised. I said, a woman with children. What? Why?
My brother, let me tell you something. If they want to paint the KUSASI man black, it will not work, because KUSASI people are all over the country. I am a KUSASI person. I have stayed in Kumasi. I've been in school. I have friends, and anybody who has had an encounter with the KUSASI man knows who a KUSASI man is. We are by nature not people who want to fight. We are by nature peaceful people. So now, funny enough is that, especially the last killing that they killed one Moshi guy, the guy who lives with KUSASI people, he stays with KUSASI people for over 20 years. Now, in the wake of this crisis, he feels that he is not a KUSASI, neither is he a Mamprisi. So he went to greet a funeral, to sympathize with a bereaved family, and he was shot dead right in their midst. If it is actually KUSASI people who wanted to kill this man, they would have gone to his house and killed him. But the man who has been living with KUSASI people for over so many years. And funny enough is that they also went and then killed a pregnant woman and are able to convey the children of that pregnant woman and go to their territory and did a press conference. In fact, these people don't have an iota of the fear of God in them. And I want to believe that the children of this bereaved woman are doing their bidding, maybe under some kind of threat, because these people, I want to believe, are terrorists. So they will say, if you don't say this, we will kill you like the way we kill your mother. And that is how they will do. Now, coming to talk about the women who are out there also speaking arrogantly and supporting the violence in Boku here. When you listen to their presser, I have a friend who is a journalist, and today she saw the women, the interview with some of the women, and what she was is a road for the government or is for KUSASI. Now you yourself know that you are living in a KUSASI territory. You are only settled at one small place, and you are forceful and you are creating problems. Now to go out, you are asking for escort to come and guide you to go out, and you rather arrest anybody who comes into the town to kill. Doesn't really make sense. So she was asking me, hey, then it doesn't mean that the Boku women are also participating in the war. And I said, you will never see a KUSASI woman talking this way about other KUSASIs. Now, when you hear a KUSASI woman talking, she's replying to some of their troubles. So you see, instead of women to campaign for peace, they are rather advocating for trouble. Now, lastly, on this my submission is that
seriously, when I watched them, I said, "Wow!" From the women to their men, all of them are the same.
And when you talk, they say suffering, bleeding, suffering. If you have people who live with these type of words, do you think they have a future? And because they don't have a future, they think everybody should go with them with their trouble. It doesn't happen that way. So the last submission I'm making is that what they have also made, they have been making claims that they are the owners of Boku. That's why they are in the center of the town. Let me tell you something, my brother. Let me tell you the meaning of staying in the town. If you go to any major town, the strangers of the land are always living in the market.
Yes, because they are traders.
If you go to Accra, you realize that most of the Kayaye and other people who do other businesses sleep in the town. The owners of the land sleep in the outskirts because the land is for them.
Yes.
So the fact that you are the fact that is not where now you are sleeping at the very place where you are selling things. So you are sleeping in the market. So how can the owner of the land sleep in the market? If you make the market square, your home, how are you the owner of the land?
Yes.
You don't have now. So one of them came and said, they don't farm.
You don't have a place to live, so you have to live in the market.
Now one of them came and said they don't sleep, they don't farm, they don't eat local rice, they eat Texas. How foolish, how stupid can this be? They eat Texas, they don't eat local rice, they don't want our vegetables. And now
because of our time, we would like to end here. We have a whole lot of them. We just finished episode 1 of the history, and we have so much to say after today. So, Mr. Winters, in fact, I can see your fire is burning so much, and we thank you so very much that anytime we call you, you always come to help us in this program. You can see.
Thank you very much for having me. God bless you.
Your viewers are enjoying your submissions, they enjoy your analysis, and I'm very much happy about that. All that I can say for now is, Mr. Winters, we thank you so very much. We are allowed to allow you to rest. Then we meet again, God willing, tomorrow.
Thank you very much, and see you another time.
All right. Bye.
At the annual Samampede Festival celebrated by the chiefs and people of the KUSAAS traditional area in the Upper East region, the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Mr. Beniza Kum, encouraged the people to respect the decision of the Supreme Court on the status of the paramount chief of the area. He said the judgment pronounced is binding on all residents of Boko.
The Samampede is celebrated by KUSASIS in the KUSAAS traditional area, formerly Boku traditional area, in the Upper East region to show appreciation to God for a bumper harvest. The overlord of the KUSAAS traditional area, Zugran Naba Asigri Abugago Azuka, emphasized the need for the perennial conflicts in the area to end for meaningful development. He asked the security agencies to ensure perpetrators of the violence in the area are brought to book.
When I'm marking what put so loaded, I'll put the one, put my please, put a put so we put a cousin, put morality as a something, the garden, it's a something. When I put so I don't what to fire liquor on a meeting. So my post, excellency, that I don't go for don't know tomorrow.
The spokes
2017, I said it and I want to repeat it today. There is only one Bokunaba in the area.
Yakun news to chuane. Ye oboro yelle 2017 onda pa wunam da tsukotiso na namba onkena yele fe ye fon anab box ulunkwe fono fo konkon anab. Zina oye yelle yas ye fon boknab ko mi.
Zato come kutampo ni teka karabani zena. Gozo ya bale benza za ni kutana ni moda. Yeah ya zanga titimpanga kane kanu. Hey zanga titimpanga sala kane kempanga.
All right, thank you so very much, viewers, for staying with us till now. We thank you so very much for your comments, and we really appreciate whoever shared the video. We thank you so very much, and whoever also came to watch us through, we thank you so much. We would like to thank our guest, Mr. Wente Sida, for your submissions. We thank you so very much for everything. And as we said, we just brought you the the first episode of the history of KUSAAS, of the history of the KUSASIS, and we continue to bring it to you day in, day out, so that you get to know and understand your history. Because if you know where you are coming from, that is where you know where you are going. Meet you again next time. Thank you so very much. Thank you. I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Zato kami ku tampo ni te terapa ni zena. Aku yang salah. Kau saya paling benar saja ni ku terang ni modal.